Hello and welcome once again to the Growth Mindset Collective here with Nikki and myself. Hello.
Hello.
And we truly hope you're having an amazing day. And today we're stepping into um, the idea that life isn't just meant to be a survival, it's meant to be expanded into something amazing. Becoming more isn't just about doing more. To the point of burnout, it's actually about aligning with your highest self and living with deeper intention, greater joy, and fuller expression. So we are here to really live an amazing life. And I know Nikki has amazing things for us once again. So share with us, Nikki.
I always love what you have to say, Ava. And what you're saying there is really a huge point encapsulated. And what we're trying to do as people is, we watch those who are really successful and have gone before us, and they're not working a lot more, but they're doing a lot more. And that's what we're looking to provide for you when we share these classes and when we share, we have students in our program. Like becoming more and living more is simply learning to live in the zone in the area that Ava just talked about. And it's an ease and a flow. And as you apply this manner of a manner of becoming more, the living more becomes so much easier, and it's less, as in less work, less intensity, less energy, because you're living from a higher state to a lower state instead of living from this bottom state, which is a frequency that is one, very populated and very easy to get stuck in. And two, it preoccupies a lot of you. Like if somebody was going to throw you a curve, a personal curve when you're not expecting it, and they say, well, we're not going to honor the deal that you're doing, or we know we said we weren't going to ever sell the house you're living in, but we are, like that kind of a curve. And the energy that consumes you from that kind of thing when you're living at a lower level is crazy intense, crazy intense. And what Ava was trying to say is that, you live in the ease and flow of things, and you'll get a curveball like that, and your higher self will say to you, or your higher power will quickly say to you, a resolve. And you'll get the resolve, and you'll respond to the person and give them an hour instead of 3 days of upset and energy and intensity and searching and feeling and needing validation from other people because you're feeling this way. None of that exists when you move into living exactly the way Ava just mentioned. It's not a thing where you're changing who you are. You're going deep down and sensing a bigger, better version of ourselves. And we're simply expressing that. We connect to ourselves, we shift our mindset, and we expand in the place that we occupy that is us. And that's how we begin becoming more. And the result is that we start living more. We have to understand that what we're doing is we're not living in a world of competition anymore because other people have to in the life and in the world and in the atmosphere that exists around us doesn't mean we have to exist in the same energy and
Mm.
that same frequency. You rise above all this when you learn how to be more. Then with that, you live more. And a lot of this that exists in life today and that you're experiencing right now still exists, but you don't live it. You don't experience it. You don't have to take ownership of it. Nothing like you do at this present moment. Right, Ava?
Yes. And I don't know who wrote this quote, but I do really like it. It says, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it." Because I think a lot of it right now, people have a lot of these things backwards. It's like you were saying, go, 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 faster, do this, do more.
Hmm,
But you're really not. You're just chasing things. Instead, we should become the person we want, do the things we want to do, but in alignment. Sometimes we get sidetracked. We think this is what we want or this is what we want, but really it's not. You're just kind of following what the society expects you to nowadays. Honestly, I see it all the
exactly.
time. And we're trying to fit in. We're trying to do a lot, but we don't stop and take that time for ourselves to
Mhm.
really truly feel alive. Like, have you noticed that too?
Absolutely, absolutely. But you know what you said about alignment really, really is important. Now, I know a lot of us will hear you and will say, that's exactly what we want. There's some steps to this, and there's literally the laws of life that exists within this. And I call it a cheat. And one cheat for you to get into alignment, like Ava's telling you, is before you could get into creation, there has to be order. So sometimes when I'm challenged, I look around my house and I'll see, oh, I made a mess somewhere in my house. Throw things in my closet, didn't do the dishes, the cupboards are still open. I'm wondering who the heck walks around my house and leaves the cupboards open? Like there's an energy that goes with this. And then if you put order back where you when you're feeling that energy to get yourself into the alignment like Ava just spoke about, just acknowledge, just breathe and look at yourself or feel yourself or look around because you're expressing it physically somewhere. And you just look and you'll be affirmed, yep, there's a little bit of chaos. I'm just going to clean that up, clean my car. Sometimes it's just parking your car in the wrong spot and all those birds dive bombing it. It's really gross, really gross, but really true. It's like, why? Why did I do that? So you just need a little bit of order to get in alignment, like Ava's talking about. We want a little bit more order, or we want to put the order back. Sometimes when we take in more, we blow something else up and we leave it. But we can't just leave it. Sometimes there's a little order that needs to be put in place.
Exactly. I love that. And slowing down too, it helps. Not to slow down to not to do anything, but to really slow down and experience depth in the things that you do too. Reflect more. Um, like just the other day, I was sitting and doing my journaling as usual, and then I started writing things, and as I wrote more things came, and then I was able to see things a lot more clearly. It kind of like solidified things I was thinking up here and on paper. It all of a sudden it's like made things very clear for me. I was like, oh, this is what I need to do. I needed that moment to sit, to
Mhm.
slow down, to realign, and I felt so much better. Like that day just felt quite different. It's something I do all the time, but I did it a little bit differently this time, and it made a difference. It sure does.
Yes, yes. Well, that's the key too, is to the process of stepping into a higher version of yourself is by changing. So Ava just talked about, so she did a little bit of changing. She could have done a little bit of changing in think, feel, or act. Any one of those or all three of those, and then the dynamic shift of where you're looking to go happens. You don't have to do all that work in between. Like you don't have to be in control of that, how you're going to shift from A to B. You have to make the change within yourself in the way either you think, you feel, you act, and you move into the shift Ava was talking about and into the alignment Ava was referring to.
With ease and flow.
Yes, yes. Well, that's a thing too. After you've been doing this for a while and you're disciplining yourself and you just dedicate yourself to being a life learner, you'll have an incident, another incident happen, months and months or years could go by, and you're dedicated to this growth, and then something happens. And 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it would have been something that would have dominated you, dominated your life, dominated other areas where you'd have to say, hang on, everybody, I got to deal with this. And with your growth, it's just, oh, I get it. And you get the resolution and you speak out the resolution either in your mind, in your heart, or verbally. And it actually falls into a flow that is so much easier. And
Yeah.
it's very real.
Yeah, and it's a great awareness too, because like you were saying, you realize you're not that person that used to make that fast or crazy decision. You're that person that now takes it from a different awareness, slows down, has disciplined themselves, takes the proper steps, and is feeling quite different. Because I remember when I used to do that, like there would have been moments when I would have been going from A to Z, I would have been like, phew, like just acting up or whatever,
Yeah.
reacting. But now it's like, no, I've trained myself to pause, think about it, and even if things don't go my way, I'm still able to be like, okay, hold on, what can I learn from this experience? or
Yes.
or instead of beating myself over it for the rest of the day or evening, waking up still going over in my head and like, what's happening? Why?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's so nice to see that change over the
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
or even months sometimes. Depends how much effort you put into the new identity person you want to become.
Not only that, Ava, but sometimes when we think it's not going to work the way we want it to, Nelson Mandela is a fantastic example of this because his mandate was huge. And then he was put in jail and he was thinking, I can't do what I want to do. I can't make the difference. I can't do this. And he was thinking, I can't do this. I can't do this. And he was in that groove of what the heck? And then all of a sudden, he thought, oh, perhaps this is what it looks like in that step of growth, in that step of move forward. Perhaps this is what I needed for the environment to nurture the part of me that has to come out. So he started writing letters, and we know history now, we know what happened there. But until he said, oh, maybe this is what it looks like, and then worked within what he had, he was able to call on all the other things he had without all sorts of interruption, without all sorts of expectation, without all sorts of crazy energy. He was able to write the letters and he made the changes. So sometimes we because we're young in certain areas of thinking, we think, oh, this isn't it. This is not what I'm meant to do. But yet we could sit back and say, oh, well, maybe this is what it looks like while I'm making this change.
That's right. Well said.
Like you don't wait for the circumstances to change. You have to change yourself first, and then the world follows.
That's right. And sometimes we sit there and wonder why things don't change. It's honestly, it's because we really don't do the inner work. I'll say it. We wait for things to happen and they're not, or they're not going the way we want them. It's because we're not taking the time to really know ourselves first. And then when that happens, like we end up blaming either people or circumstances, or I mean, there's things that happen. Of course there's those gray areas sometimes, but honestly, we do have to do the inner work. That's what it boils down to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, talking about inner work, our subconscious mind runs 90% of our time during the day. Maybe for some, maybe more, maybe less. But to live as we want to, we have to start speaking to it directly. We have to know what the heck it is we're thinking, and we have to go, yeah, let's move into this direction, or, cut that out. Or even if I know this multimillionaire friend of mine, and he's very good. He's really learned his success, his mindset, his manner of living, his manner of moving forward. And he talks to himself, and he quietly talks to himself to walk himself through an area. And I think it's really important for us to acknowledge our senses of thinking, our senses of realization, what it means, where it's going, or what's going on, because 90% of our daily effort and our time and our thinking, it's our subconscious mind, which means we're not really thinking. We think we're thinking on some things, but we're not.
Bob Proctor used to say that too a lot. Yeah, we think we're
Yeah.
thinking just because doesn't mean you're really thinking. And I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
All
Well, I
right.
was so I was so good at that when I was younger. I loved it. I was thinking, yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at me thinking. And I really wasn't.
Yeah,
I was thinking, I'm so good. I feel good.
yeah,
And I wasn't really thinking. I was still calling up the environment, the thoughts, all the things, the habits, the old knowledge, and so on and
yeah.
so forth, and
And
putting a
repeating the same
spin
thing
on it.
over and over again in our minds too. We tend to do that too. Like
Yes.
I know I did that
Yes.
when I was growing up too quite a bit. And I thought I was so proud of myself. I'm doing so much thinking. Yeah, no.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, we challenge everybody who's listening to this to think about what you're thinking about once you leave us. You're driving in the car, you're in the grocery store, you're picking up the kids, you're doing whatever. And are you thinking? What do what are you thinking? It's fair to say nothing, because this is old hat. This is all the old stuff. You need to consistently continue to imagine, affirm yourself, feel like you're becoming the dominant person in your life, in your own movie. And to do that, you have to be in a level of control, not
Yeah.
90% subconscious mind.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I was actually driving the other day. I took a different route than normally, and it was so nice. And I saw a lot of fields and stuff because there was traffic jam. And I'm thinking there driving, it's like, and it was so nice I was thinking, and I was like, wow, I'm actually not thinking the same things I was thinking like yesterday. It felt so nice, so refreshing. I mean, I've done it before, but this was really like I actually took the moment to reflect the
Yes.
things I was thinking. I was like, huh, I'm so glad I'm not in the same repeat mode from yesterday and the day before or the day before that. It felt
Yes.
really like light and beautiful. So that was great awareness for me. And so I applaud myself for that.
Yeah, I applaud you too.
Oh, thank you. So here's some powerful questions you can ask yourself. Like, sit down, really take a piece of paper and answer these truthfully. What does becoming more mean to you? What is one belief you're ready to outgrow, perhaps? If nothing held you back, what version of you would you step into today?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And where are you still playing small? And how can you expand that? Because here you want to become more, right? So how can you expand what you're doing? In what way? Maybe there's somebody you need to talk. We all need mentors. We're here for you if you need help in these kind of things. That's why we're here, helping one another grow and expand, become more. And
Mm.
what one small aligned action you can not thinking action can you take today that would elevate how you feel about your life, perhaps?
Exactly.
Like these are some really good questions to really sit down
Yeah.
and don't just go over in your head. It's like, ah, I'm done number one, two. And sit down, write it out, whether it takes a paragraph or two, or just do one question that the one that resonated with you the most that hit you is like, hey, I like that question. I'm gonna expand on it. Just do
Hmm.
that. See how you feel and go from there. Like that's all it takes. And then you'll start seeing from the thing. And when you start doing it more consistently, almost every day, maybe one question a day here for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. You'll be amazed of the things that start coming at you. So,
Yes.
basically, becoming more doesn't mean fixing who you are. That's another thing. People's like, well, they're trying to fix it. No, it's just really getting the most out of this beautiful life that we have. And life is short. Like, honestly,
Hmm.
I blink and I'm like, in my mid, whatever I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
where did that go? So, really, like, we want you to thrive in life, rise to whatever you want to do. Don't be shy.
Yes.
You know, it
Yeah.
means also uncovering more of the greatness that's already inside you, within you. But sometimes we're lazy, we don't want to do anything, we don't want to expand, and then we wonder why life is dull. Like honestly, So you're not behind, you're right where you need to be. You just need to, do a little bit extra and finding that thing that keeps you alive. Because honestly, I read somewhere there was a person on deathbed at the end of life, and a person comes to him and is like, "Did you enjoy life?" Like these
Mhm.
questions, like, "Did you enjoy life? Did you find joy in every day?" And if you can't say you did, then what did you do with your life? So do you want to be that person? Probably not. So live your life to the best you can. We are here for you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nikki and myself. And we'll hope to see you on the next Growth Mindset Collective. Till then, have a beautiful day. Thank you, Nikki.
Bye-bye.